continue to do so.
Question number 6, Katie Clark.
To ask the First Minister whether the Scottish Government will comply with the Scottish Information Commissioner's ruling that files relating to James Hamilton's investigation into whether the former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon broke the Ministerial Code must be published by 22nd January 2026.
First Minister.
Presiding Officer, the Scottish Government will comply with the Commissioner's decision and will do so as soon as practically possible. I do not expect this will take much longer. The courts have made it clear the identities of those who complained in relation to allegations of sexual assault must have their identities protected, and there are no circumstances in which I will do anything that risks breaking those court orders. I cannot release information which would breach those court orders and amount to a contempt of court.
Katie Clark.
The Scottish Government has wasted millions of pounds of taxpayers' money fighting court cases, with 2 further appeals relating to the Salmond files before the Court of Session later this month. Will the First Minister ensure full disclosure by releasing all of the Salmond files? And if he won't commit to this today, will he at least release information which has not been contested through the appeals process? And if the Scottish Government loses the appeals, will he commit to not using his veto? My Freedom of Information Reform Bill would strengthen the powers of the Information Commissioner, preventing the late disclosure of information, which happened here, introduce proactive disclosure and abolish the First Minister's veto. Will he look closely at my bill, which is supported by the current Information Commissioner and all the previous holders of the role, as it would help deliver openness, accountability and transparency, which were the founding principles of this Parliament?
First Minister.
We will, of course, look at the bill and consider its contents, but it is really important that I am clear with Parliament why the Government is acting in the way that it is acting. The Scottish Government has handled nearly 90 freedom of information requests and reviews relating to the James Hamilton investigation. We are also responding to 96% of information requests on time against a backdrop of rising request numbers. In relation to the particular case that Katie Clark raises with me, the Government will comply with the Commissioner's decision, but I have to be absolutely satisfied that there is no risk that court orders that protect the identities of individuals who have complained in relation to allegations of sexual assault are in any way disclosed as a consequence. I will be clear with Parliament, I will not do that. And I'm very surprised that Katie Clark wants me to release all of the information, because if I released all of the information, I would breach court orders, and I will not do that. So the Government is appealing 2 other cases which we believe would result in us committing contempt of court, and I will not do that. So the Government has, as I've said already, has handled nearly 90 freedom of information requests, but I have a legal responsibility. I have a responsibility in the Ministerial Code to obey the court orders that are in place, and I want to be crystal clear with Parliament. I will do nothing to jeopardise that.
Fergus Ewing.
But what the First Minister hasn't said, presiding officer, is that James Hamilton, when he produced his report himself, in public, in an unprecedented move, expressed his severe reservations with the redactions that he was required to make. And moreover, the orders made regarding the release of further information have been made by David Hamilton, the Freedom of Information Commissioner. Now, the First Minister will accept that both James and David Hamilton are individuals of the highest repute and integrity, and they would not invite him to do anything that was illegal. So my question is this: isn't the First Minister using the excuse of jigsaw identification as a human shield, as a pretext for declining to release information, because the real reason is it will cause extreme embarrassment to several people who are in the Scottish Government now and previously were in that trusted position?
First Minister.
I cannot find it in myself to associate myself with the words that Mr Ewing has made of the, quote, excuse of jigsaw identification. Because that question lies at the very heart of the provision of statute in this country. And my duty as First Minister at all times is to obey the law. And Mr Ewing is inviting me to be cavalier with the orders that have been passed by a court in this country, and I want to be crystal clear with Parliament, I will do not one bit of it.
Murdo Fraser.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. I wonder if the First Minister appreciates what a bad look it is for his government to be spending huge sums of taxpayers' money contesting rulings from the Independent Information Commissioner. David Hamilton is an experienced and respected professional who has spent his entire career in Scotland's justice system. Does the First Minister really think he would be asking the Scottish Government to do something that would be unlawful?
First Minister.
The Government has made clear that we believe the Information Commissioner has erred in law in relation to two of the cases that the Government is appealing. And Mr Fraser is a lawyer. He knows full well the obligations that I carry as First Minister to ensure that the Government at all times complies with the law. And where I believe there is a risk of jeopardy in that respect, I will ensure that the Government acts within the law, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Thank you. We move to